Well, we're back checking your money with Vicki Brackens, president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial Member SIPC. Vicki, it's been a week, hasn't it?
Oh, George, it has been. I love the way you say that. Checking your money, and it's been a week. It
It's
it
been a
certainly has
week.
been. We had a great talk, which we looked at earlier there with Michelle Brooks Rowling as far as the Financial Empowerment Convention. But I wanted to take a few minutes also to look back into the fact that we had a major announcement that came on Wednesday with the Freedom Day as the President Trump has declared it and has been declaring it that for I don't know what, about a month now,
Mhm.
in anticipation of the big announcement on the economic changes and change in direction and stance and policy around trade, and what he expects to implement as far as trade changes going forward. I wanted to take a minute, first of all, just to say that some of the details are still being figured out, because anytime you have a policy such as this that's this large, understanding the nuances all the way through takes some time. But on the surface, it looks like it's going to be a higher degree of tariffs than any of us actually expected. When you first started talking, it sounded like it was going to be lower, but as we got further and further and further into the speech, because of some of the focused and targeting around particular industries or particular countries, the levels of tariffs that are being imposed are going to be higher than we expected in many instances. I don't know exactly how this is going to all unwind. I'm not going to fool you, okay?
Right.
Where I can say I know exactly what's going to happen, because there are so many commas and pluses and minuses that until we can start working through the details, will we really understand everything? But what I can tell you for sure is this: the world economies are very much integrated and connected. So an action by one is not something as though it just stands alone in its own little box. It has a way of filtering through what they call contagion, that filtering through to other areas. And until we have some time, we really never know exactly what that filtering through is really going to do. It the conversation. Now listen to the whole thing, George. I
Hmm.
actually took time off. I'm not going from somebody else's commentary.
This is what Vicki heard.
I wanted to hear myself. Okay. And the chart that the president produced, which shows that certain countries are charging tariffs on particular types of products at very exorbitant rates. Like in some cases, 30, 40, 50%, okay, on cars coming into to Japan. Or I think it was Japanese rice there was a 97% tariff, so that rice would, that the rice that's produced in Japan would always be the most favored. Those types of things are going to make big headlines, and the retaliation or reaction, not retaliation, reaction from countries around the world to our shift in policy will take some time to understand, but I expect that it's going to cause some levels of product choke off. You know what I mean by similar to what we had when we had the issues with COVID.
Mm.
Hopefully not as long and deep, but there will be an adjustment. It's like, you go out
But
and I know what I'll use as an analogy. Everybody will understand this. You play the first quarter of basketball under one set of rules, and they have a particular type of defense. And what's the boxing one? You have the offense coming there, and they're playing that particular type of offense, and you have a defense, and you realize that you're getting beaten, which is what he said, is that our defense was not sufficient to handle the offense that was happening from other countries into our markets. So they're changing to a new defensive pattern. They went back to the locker room. They drew up a new playbook. And the new playbook is designed to make sure that there is a better defense against industry and services and loss of IP, etc., that's happening around the world to make it to more equalize the trade structure around the world for the United States going forward.
That's what, yeah, that was very good. And that's what their position is.
That's their position. Okay.
But before all of these tariffs were announced, every financial prognosticator said it wasn't a good idea. And that it was going to result.
And here's the reason we said it wasn't a good idea.
Right, because it's going to result in higher prices for consumers. That's what every single prognosticator said, including the Wall Street Journal. Okay,
and including Vicki.
Including Vicki, right?
Okay. I do believe that it will result in higher prices. The administration's point is, yes, that may happen, but here's the but. Because we are reshoring industry, and because we are collecting more revenue, that additional revenue will be used to rebuild the manufacturing base of this country for infrastructure, for all types of things. And because we are reshoring industry, and I didn't realize this, and this is one that missed me, and I'll check to make sure the number's correct. 90,000 manufacturing plants have closed over the last 25 years in this country.
90,000.
90,000, which represented about 5 million workers who lost their jobs during that time period. Okay, so but the point, the but was with the reshoring of manufacturing, that although it may cost more, the cost of living may go up. The amount of revenue that everybody is receiving is also going to outstrip, exceed what the increase in cost of living is going to be. Here's the trick, though, or the thing to remember. There is a transition point in any type of change. When you've got the transition of turning an economy, and we're not just talking about turning an economy in a local region or turning the economy even in a state. We're talking about turning the economy of the world. There is going to be a transition point, and will the pain of that transition point be too large to bear? Or will it be something that we can come through and glide into, which is what the Federal Reserve did for us over the last couple of years?
But this is forced on the people. This is not a gradual, let's take it one step at a time.
That's why I said, hey, that's the concern, is that because the transition it's not even a transition, it is a stop turn.
Yeah.
A stop turn versus a transition over 5, 10, 15 years where we glide into a restructuring of the world economy relative to trade and trade around the world. Okay. In fact, one of the common comments that was made is that hasn't been since probably 1930 that we've had this level of trade changes as far as tariffs being raged against countries around the world and the United States. We'll see. That's all I can say, George. We'll see. As things happen, so I'm going to say these two things as far as what I would encourage everyone to do. Pay attention to what's happening to your own world as far as your cash is concerned. Pay attention to what's happening in your own local economy as far as what's happening with employment. If you had an idea that you were going to buy a big ticket item in the next 2 or 3 months, no guarantees, but I would say that anything that's on the showroom floor right now shouldn't have any markup on it. So go get it now, okay, if you can afford it, before tariffs actually kick in. Otherwise, wait. For the most part, I'm telling my clients, let's just wait. If the washing machine was ugly but it was working, let's let it be ugly and let it work. Let's wait until we can really understand what's going on, because keeping your cash available is going to be important. Okay, very important. The Federal Reserve is going to have a big job to do. There's no doubt about it. They're going to have a big job to do. The Treasury's going to have a big job to do. Since the new Treasury Secretary, Bessent, he's going to earn his money over the next 6, 8, 9, 12 months. Same thing with the local state controllers, because some states are important things at levels of 80-90% from Canada, or 80-90% from Mexico, depending on where they are. State treasuries are going to have to really work to keep things in balance. But I know how you feel, George. Okay, I will say that I am praying for this to be a very calm, if possible, transition, because the cat is out of the bag. There is no doubt that we're getting ready to go through a transition.
Have you bought eggs lately?
Eggs actually are down, George.
Well, how much though? Not that much.
It's not a lot, but they are down. Okay.
Yeah.
But in comparison to what they were, they are down. In comparison to what they should be, they are way up. Yeah. Way up. Speaking of eggs, though, since you said that, I've invited everybody to subscribe to Eyes on the Week Ahead.
Yes.
We have a special edition that's coming out this week. That special edition happens to deal with eggs.
You told me about that.
Okay.
All right. So what's this about? Yes.
So what it's about is that when you look at certain things, or you think about certain events that happen in your life, you tend to have an emotional reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that emotional reaction will drive your perception of what's happening in your own life. We decided to take eggs to use as an indicator for how you feel about your own financial well-being. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Subscribe to the newsletter in particular so you can see the new egg index.
That's coming out tomorrow?
It's coming out tomorrow. Yes. Okay. It's a special edition that will be coming out tomorrow. And the new egg index for financial well-being. I think you'll enjoy it.
All right. So, Vicki, go ahead. I was going to say, we do have the Friendly Neighborhood Advisor next week.
Yes. We were both heading the same way, because I will be off. Okay. I'm going to be signing off today, okay, as far as saying my plate is full. But next week, Michael Jennings will be back, our Friendly Neighborhood Advisor, and he will be taking you forward into your financial learning and education over the next month. And George, I will say at this point in time, our plate is full.
Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial Member SIPC. Vicki is America's Money Maven.